Hey guys, welcome to the page. I'm Ken Smith with Ken Smith Gallery. Today we're going to go ahead and replace our gas shutoff valve that actually doesn't shut off anymore, and to do a kind of a band-aid over an artery, and I had actually installed a secondary shutoff valve in line, and that worked for just a little over a year until the sediment that is in here got past our fuel bowl and kind of wore out that second valve. And so we are going to go ahead and replace that valve underneath the tank, put a pencil filter in. We're going to go ahead and remove this secondary valve and replace it with a stock line, and we're going to add some earth magnets to it and a few other things to help really reduce the amount of rust that might make it into a carburetor jet. So yes, I realize that I need to fix the tank, and that's a project that we're going to do down the road, but not now. And so in the meantime, this is what we're going to go ahead and do. So stick around, watch the video. Remember to like and subscribe. It's so important to us. It helps us to continue to bring content to you. So let's go ahead. We're going to pop the hood, and we are going to remove the gas line, leave the valve on, and start draining the fuel. So let's go. So as you can see, I started draining out the fuel. Now I'll give you a little history behind this particular valve. I actually put this valve in last year as a band-aid, and that's literally what it was, as a band-aid to deal with the leaking fuel valve that is inside. And obviously this worked for about a year, and then with the crud that kind of has gotten through the tank, and you can kind of see some of that crud as I've drained the fuel. You can kind of see some of that crud down there. I already know, so don't beat me up on this, I already know that I need to fix the gas tank. That's the right way to do that, and the long-term plan is to actually do that. But in the meantime, this was my band-aid. Well, this worked for about a year until this valve got messed up, and then it quit completely shutting off. And so I have a new valve that we're going to put in, a replacement valve that we're going to do here, and hopefully this winter, when we get ready to do our roof, yeah, because that bad boy is leaking, you know, part of doing the roof is, you know, we got to take this off, get this out of the way, and whatnot. Well, that's also, you know, a good chunk of work to do the gas tank. So at that point, I'm going to go ahead and pull the tank out, clean it, get it sealed, do it right, and be done with it. So yeah, I might have to replace that fuel valve a second time inside, and that's okay. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But in the meantime, I wanted to at least get a fuel valve in there so that I could enjoy and drive the car. So hey, check out my old school gas can, a little rusty on the top, but inside she's still pretty clean. And so I just drained the fuel in that, and fits there perfectly. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and loosen the fuel line. I started it at this end. I already, you know, put a wrench to it and just kind of let it get the much gas out of there as I thought we did. Obviously there's some residual inside the line, and next I'm going to loosen it from here, from the valve itself. Now, whoever put this in before me really liked silicone. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get this valve out without too much trouble. I'm not a big fan of RTV, silicone, all that other stuff. especially when it comes to
being around fuel lines. All right. By the way, if you're curious what this is actually wire going to my 12 volt accessory, well 6 volt accessory actually, and I just to keep it looking kind of original, it's mounted actually underneath my cup holder, and so just to kind of give it that original flair, I used some insulation, period correct insulation. So if that's what you were curious what that is. All right, next we're going to go ahead and get our adjustable wrench and see if we can loosen that thing up. Yeah, I prefer just getting a wrench on it. That seemed to be working. I got a big old speaker magnet underneath there, and it's just wanting to attract the wrench every time I try to turn it. Well, obviously going to be dropping some fuel here in a moment. I can feel it. Well, much to my surprise, this had a pencil filter. We'll get a closer look at it. Yeah, so much to my surprise, there is a pencil filter that's on here. You can see that really is really crummy looking. I mean, well, I know how bad my gas tank is if I can see this. Not sure how long it's been working. Don't know the history as to when it was put in, but that is a hot mess. Well, we're going to put a new one in and see if that solves our problem. So I went ahead and I actually took the old valve apart. I was just really curious after I saw the pencil filter that was on there. And much to my surprise, you can kind of see all the scoring right here in this kind of shiny spot. You can just see all the scoring right in this general area. It definitely was worn out. It was shot, and not surprised at all. I was surprised to see a pencil filter on there, and I don't know who put it on, how long ago it was put on, but actually when I just loosely assemble this and just try to rotate this, there's all sorts of binding and really hard, and so this has obviously been a problem for a while. So I have the new valve here. I got this from Model A Medic in Wichita, Kansas. Chatted with Eric about it. He stated that the new ball valve design was far superior than the previous cylinder design that I showed you when I took apart the old valve. Now, the one thing that I definitely noticed was the difference in height, and I'll try to get those even. So if you notice the metal base of the new filter, I'm going to try and do all of this in points. So this ought to be fun. Metal, the brass base right here. Notice that it is probably about 1/4 of an inch taller than the one than the old one that I took out. Now, that at first really excited me because I'm like, oh, I'll definitely get above any of the sediment that's in the tank. Here's the problem. I might lose a gallon or two of gas capacity. Now, that's not the end of the world if I know that up front. So I'm going to reach out to Eric just to see if I find that to be the case. If that's the case, I just need to plan my routes more efficiently because there, as you know, I've driven this car several hundred miles in a clip, and so I just want to make sure that I plan my gas stops to accommodate for the fact that my 11-gallon tank might now only have a 10 or 9-gallon capacity. So I'll be interested to hear what Eric has to say about it. In the meantime, I'm still going to put this in. I'm definitely not using the plumber's putty or silicone that was on this thing. I'm going to be using fuel Teflon tape. And if you don't know, when you go to put your Teflon tape on, make sure that you're putting it on in the direction that you're going to be screwing this in, to that way there it doesn't actually undo and clump up at the bottom. It shouldn't be that at all. It should be nice and tight. I usually put 2 to 2.5 revolutions, full revolutions on. That's usually more than enough to seal any type of possible fuel leak. All right, so let's get the new valve in. Okay, so we have our valve installed. We're going to go ahead and turn it on and see if we get fuel flow. And I can already hear it. And obviously you can see it. So what's really cool about this, I'll be honest with you, is all I did was pour in 1 of the gallons of gas that I drained out of the tank. And so be really curious as to how much ends up coming out. Might save myself a call from having to make to Eric. But I'm pretty impressed so far. It's definitely, fuel is definitely flowing much better than it was. And yeah. So next we'll get rid of this stupid valve and put on a line. And I'm going to put a earth magnet in the bottom here and put an earth magnet in the bottom of the carburetor, just to be on the safe side. Now I've got the new gas valve in, but I left this on, and the reason why is, I had a problem with that other valve not closing all the way. This valve obviously got destroyed in the process, so it didn't close all the way. So I've left it, I've got gas in the gas tank. I've left it with the valve closed just to see if I get any kind of dripping on here. Now again, it's a driver. It's not a show car. It's not a point car. And so if I get a little gas there, I'm not going to freak out. And so anyhow, nothing. It's as dry as a bone. It's been like this for the last couple of hours. I am so excited. And so we're going to take this off and replace the filter, put an earth magnet inside the carburetor, an earth magnet inside the fuel bowl, and we're going to get her back together. All right, so I've got, I pulled the carburetor off. Like I said, I was going to put in an earth magnet right there in the bowl, and I'll see how that works. I don't foresee any problems. Now, one thing I just am going to throw out there and offer to y'all, take it or leave it, but it's just something that I found, and I thought, hey, I'm kind of excited about it. So I got, when I ordered all my parts, I ordered a carb kit, gasket kit, just in case, I messed up any of the gaskets. And this deal there and this deal there, they really have a tendency of leaking. You even mess with it one time and it guaranteed, I don't know about you, but at least on my car, guaranteed it's going to leak. And so I hated the thought of tearing open this gasket kit just for those two deals. And so when I was at Harbor Freight, I know I'm gonna get slack for that, but that's okay. When I was at Harbor Freight picking up them earth magnets, I happened to see this neat little kit. For all of $3.99 or somewhere around there. And this are almost dead ringers for that. And this, $3.99, whole kit. So I'm gonna try that and see how those work, and I'll keep you posted. Now you get 10 of these in the container. There's where I put the earth magnet, just smack dab there in the center of the bowl. And I made sure, you know, that it didn't attach to the float. And I had no reason to suspect it would, since the float's made out of brass, but still, just wanted to double check in case there was metal fillings in there or whatnot. Of course, the float would be leaking, and that's another problem. But that's the earth magnet. Like I said, there's 10 that come in a pack. They're very small, as you can see, not very big. And I'm going to put one in there and one in the fuel bowl on the car. So there's the earth magnet that I just put in. And if you're curious as to, or have any doubts as to whether or not these things are powerful enough to attract rust, check that out. Yeah, I'd say there's no problem. As rust enters that bowl, as metal enters that bowl, it's going to attract to that magnet. So here's what I've got. I've got the pencil filter installed in the new valve, installed in the gas tank. So there's my first line of defense. My second line of defense is this rear earth magnet. My third line of defense is the Wix filter that I'm going to put in on top of this. And my fourth line of defense is the rear earth magnet that I put inside the carburetor. So I've done everything I possibly can outside of pulling the tank, and I know I need to do that. But I've done everything possible up until this point to try to keep the carburetor as clean as I can and get the most out of it for the rest of the year here. So that's the plan of attack. We're going to go ahead and assemble this. In the meantime, I've left the fuel line prior to me taking this off. I left the fuel line. Let me back up. I did not replace the fuel line just yet, so I left that open part open just to make sure that the valve closed. I put gas in the gas tank, and it's been sitting like that for a couple of hours, not one drop. So I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased at this juncture that the valve actually does close. So let's get it all back together. Alrighty, so now we've gone ahead and taken off the old fuel line, the old exterior valve. We're going to go ahead and put on a new fuel line. This is an aftermarket one. And if you've never done this before, you want the brass knurl right there to be about 1/4 of an inch or so from the end, so that when you go to tighten this up, it's going to sweat itself essentially on top of the line, and it'll compress and make it a nice tight fit. So you want to do this side first by the fuel filter. And again, like I said, about 1/4 of an inch is where you want to be. Press the line all the way in, and then as you start the thread, just back it out ever so slightly, and we're going to snug that up just like you see right there. Make sure that we are pretty close. Yep, we are. And we're going to go ahead and tighten this up. nice, good feeling right there. I think we're kind of good for now. And then we'll go ahead and put on the carburetor side. All right, so we have our new fuel line installed. Looks so much better without that that valve in there. Just kind of really has that good old look. Once you insert the line in here and you get that nice and snug, and then you insert the line down there, get that nice and snug, go back in, hit it with a wrench one last time. Just make sure you give it one last little oomph, and make sure everything's nice and tight. And then it's time to add some fuel and start her up and see if we've taken care of those nasty fuel leaks. And I'm just putting in essentially what I took back out of the car, and it should do it. Well, as you can see, we've got a successful repair. We've got no leaks. Everything is nice and dry. Sticking my hand on the bottom here, nothing. No leaks there, no leaks there. Take a look inside. Don't see any leaks anywhere. So I'd say we got a pretty successful repair. Well, that just goes to show you that every now and then a blind dog finds a bone. So, yeah, we're going to count this as a successful repair. I'll keep you guys posted, let you know how these earth magnets seem to work out. But hey, in the meantime, don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe. Hit that notification bell. It's so important to us. But most of all, y'all be blessed.